it is Elizabeth Off-Grid, and I am at a rest stop, you can see here, where I will be spending the night. And so this video is about what is it like to spend the night at a rest stop. Rest stops are my favorite place to sleep when I'm traveling. So why is that? What is it like to stay at a rest stop? And actually, let's start at the very beginning. What do I actually mean by a rest stop? So in the United States, rest stops or rest areas are places that are run by the government, and they're actually run by the state government, along certain interstate highways, which are actually more federal, which is interesting and weird sometimes, that go between state to state, almost all of them, but not all interstate highways are actually in between states, and state highways, which are inside of a state, except that some of them actually go to other states, a lot of them actually do, but sometimes the numbers change of the highway and sometimes it doesn't. The United States is very complicated. Anyway, the idea of a rest area, or a rest stop, it's the same thing, is that people who are driving, if they get tired, they're going to crash and make mistakes and kill people and themselves. So how do we stop that from happening? We provide a place for people to rest when they're driving really long drives. One thing to remember if you're not in the United States is that the United States of America is a gigantic country, okay? I am doing a 30-hour drive, and I'm not going all the way across the entire United States. I'm going about 60% across the United States. It's a really big place. And as you're driving these huge expanses, and you can see here, this is a huge expanse of desert, okay? You can see out there. So it's very easy to get drowsy when you're driving for hours after hours after hours. Today I was driving for 8.5 hours. So along some of these highways, not all of them, are certain rest areas or rest stops for you to rest. These are run by the state that the rest stop is in for the most part. So the issue with that is that every state has their own rules and their own features of rest stops and rest areas. And it's important to look that up because you can't sleep at all of them. And sometimes you can only, shall we say, take a nap or just sit for a little bit. And some of them you can spend a very long period of time because they all have their own sets of rules. So, the idea is that trucks need to rest, for people who are driving a truck actually need to rest for larger chunks of time, full 8 hours, 10 hours, depending upon all kinds of different rules. Someone who's driving a car may really have the same kind of thing. They need to either take a nap or actually do a real sleep for 6, 7, 8 hours. So these rest areas or rest stops typically have a place for you to rest, but many of them have all kinds of other things that are available. So that's what I mean is a rest area or rest stop really depends. In some places, it is literally a gravel parking lot, and that's it. You can rest there, you can sleep there, whatever, but that's all there is, okay? Then it goes all the way to the other extreme end. There are rest areas and rest stops that have picnic areas, that have barbecue areas, that have bathrooms with running water and running water for the toilets and for the sinks, and have soap and have paper towels. They have a playground for the kids. The bathroom is heated or air conditioning, obviously heated in the winter, air conditioning in the summer. There may be a person, a staff person who is actually there, usually for limited hours, like 9 to 5 or something, who is in this little room, and they have maps and guides and resources for you to visit the area. These rest stops or rest areas are usually called welcome centers, which might be at the border of a state, or they could be just in the middle of the state, but they're still welcoming you to the state. And you can get all kinds of free maps, and they'll tell you where the best hikes are and on all this kind of stuff. It is a wide range, as you can see. There's also a wide range of rules. In some states, the rest area or rest stop you can stay at for an hour. That's it. At some of them, you can stay for 8 hours, 18 hours, 24 hours. Some of them don't have a rule about how many hours it is. Some of them will expressly say no camping or no overnight parking, but you can rest for 8 hours. And that could be overnight. It can be complicated to figure out what you can do. Generally speaking, there's no sign saying that you can only stay there for 1 or 2 hours or something like that. The idea is that you are here just to rest. The main thing they want you to do is to not use this as a recreation kind of camping. So we'll say no camping, but you're allowed to rest for 8 hours. That means you're allowed to be in a car or an RV or a tractor trailer and sleep for 8 hours, but not recreate. So not setting up your chairs and your barbecue and like putting up games with your kids and like acting like this is your campsite, having music, you can't do that. Now, interestingly enough, you could stop at one rest area, barbecue, eat your food, then go to another rest area to sleep. But the issue is that you can't like set it up as your campsite. That's what they're really wanting you to not do. Because while they say you can only stay at each rest area for a certain number of hours, some of them don't have hours, but let's say in California, it's 8 hours, I think. There's not like a person keeping track of every single person at every rest area and how many hours it is. The idea is if you abuse it, then what happens is that they can kick you out because they can go back and look and see that you've been there for that long. So the reason I love staying at rest areas is because it's so efficient when you're traveling across country. So I'm driving from California to the Midwest. It is 30-hour drive, about 2,000 miles, and I'm doing it in 3 days. So I have picked rest areas to stay at because I can just roll into this rest area, chill out for a bit, go to sleep, wake up, go to the bathroom, because there's bathrooms over there, brush my teeth, I'm on the road. I don't have to check out, I don't have to bring my stuff in, I don't have to do any of that kind of stuff. Super fast. Also, this is free, so it's free. That's awesome. But are there issues with staying at rest areas? 100%. First, you have to sleep in your car. Now, for me, I live in my vehicle full time, so I got a bed back there. Obviously, I got a whole bunch of stuff back there because I'm traveling across country and I'm bringing a bunch of stuff with me. Yeah, but I can actually sleep there. The stuff looks piled up, but there's a bed. Now, if you don't have a bed in your car, you have to have blankets and a pillow and all that kind of stuff and kind of figure out, well, you could just take things that you already have, and you got to figure out how you're going to lay down in your car, or you're just going to put your seat back. I mean, you got to kind of figure out a method for you to be able to get some good rest. Obviously, if you have a van, if you have an RV, there's already a bed situation in there. So that could be an issue for a lot of people. Another issue is the sound. So now for me, I actually don't mind it. The sound of the highway, the sound of the tractor trailers is just white noise to me. It does not even bother me at all. But for some people, it really bothers them. It also really depends upon the rest area. So the highest, best, nicest rest areas, the car area is completely separate from the tractor trailers. What they'll do is they'll put the bathrooms in between the cars and the tractor trailers. And the cars will be like farther away from the highway. Usually in those, not always, but usually in those. So it actually is fairly quiet back there. Here, I'm going to be able to hear the highway. You can see the cars going by right there. I'm going to be able to hear the tractor trailers. It doesn't bother me at all, but they do have a little bit of separation. When I actually pulled in, I specifically picked this spot because I'm pretty far away from where the tractor trailers go. I've actually been in places where the tractor trailers pull right behind your car. Donner Pass on the 80 in California. That is scary as heck because they're right behind you. And then when a tractor trailer pulls in at 2 in the morning, their lights are shining right in your car. Now I have window coverings, and that's going to be another big issue for you if you're sleeping in your vehicle. You need a way to cover the window. You can cover it with just clothing, or, obviously in the front, you may already have a cover for your front window, but you can use towels or, things like that. That's what a lot of people will be doing. The thing is, people know you're sleeping in the car. So don't be like, you don't need to be stealth at a rest area. Like, they know that's what you're doing. And it's actually good because your car's not abandoned. You know what I mean? But I have actual window coverings because I sleep stealth a lot of the time, and I'm sleeping in my car almost every night. The only times I don't is if I'm like on a trip with somebody or staying at somebody's house or something like that. But generally speaking, I'm sleeping in my car, and so I already have window coverings and things. Another issue is creepiness. So I have had someone come up and knock on my window and like once asked me for cigarettes and like just, been weird. The number one thing I look for when I'm looking for a rest area, if I'm worried about being creeped out, especially if the rest area is near a big city or even a medium-sized city, is lights. So you can see here, see up there? Big giant lights. They're going to light up this whole place. Now, some people don't want the lights because it makes it hard for them to sleep. I think lights are great because it means that creepy people know that they're going to be seen, And so, some bugs in here. A very high priority for me to have lots and lots of lights so I can see what all these people are doing, and if anybody's creeping me out. I'm looking around at people, having situational awareness, seeing what are people doing and is it going to bother me. Now, I'm going to show you when I start covering up my windows as a way to kind of keep myself, distanced from people who are kind of loitering around the rest area. Now, this rest area is pretty far away. It's very far away from any big cities. It's even pretty far away from any half decent sized towns. So I'm not super worried about creepiness. I find that the worst rest areas as far as creepiness is when it's really close to a fairly half decent sized city. So the biggest thing for me on this particular trip, and this is really for any time of year, is that you have to look at the weather, because you're effectively sleeping almost outside. Now, if you have an RV that has heat or a van that has heat, this is different, or air conditioning for that matter. You're not going to have hookups, right? There's no hookups over here. But if you have heater air conditioning, this doesn't apply to you. This is people like me who are living in a vehicle with no heater air conditioning except for the vehicle itself, and I'm not letting my car run all night. Also, if you have a hybrid or something, you could run it. Now, one thing to be aware of is that some rest areas do have plug-ins for electric vehicles. Most do not. So you have to research that ahead of time to make sure that you have what you need for your vehicle, especially if you're out in the middle of the desert like I am right now. But the big thing is weather. In the summer, how hot is it? In the winter, how cold is it? Also, don't forget that different parts of the United States feel the effects of summer and feel the effects of winter when you may not expect it. I've had a time in April when I was in East Texas, and it was going to be 100 and something degrees that day. I was not thinking that was going to happen because it was only April. I've had times where it is October, but I was in Wyoming and it was snowing. So you have to think about the range of temperatures that is going to be safe for you to sleep in and comfortable for you to sleep in, which are two different temperatures. There's a lot of temperatures where you're totally safe. You're not going to get, ill or freeze to death or anything, but you're not going to be comfortable. But there's a lot of temperature, but you really want to stay at a place that's going to be comfortable for you. So for me, it's as long as it is around freezing or above, I'm fine. I have a CPAP, so I need the CPAP to be around 40 degrees Fahrenheit, and then the CPAP works fine. My car, I found that I measured this, and the inside of my car is about 10 degrees warmer than the ambient, as long as I'm driving my car every day. And so even if it gets down to 30 degrees outside, it's usually 40 degrees in here. So for this trip, because it is early January right now, today is January 2nd when I'm recording this, I had to research what is the temperature going to be at various different rest stops. This is actually not the best rest stop for me to stay at from the perspective of dividing up the route in thirds. This is only 8.5 hours into the route. Tomorrow, because of that, tomorrow I'm going to have an 11-hour day, and the next day I'm going to have a 10.5-hour day. Why is that? Well, this rest stop, it's going to be in the 40s tonight. It's right now, it's like in the 60s. It's absolutely lovely. The next next 6 rest stops, the next rest of this state and the next state after that, all like 20 degrees Fahrenheit or in the teens. I don't want to sleep in 14 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm not set up for that. Maybe someday, not right now. So I had to stop early, and I had to know that I had to stop early so I could find a good place to sleep. Same kind of thing for my next time. I'm going to be driving 11 hours and staying somewhere. I'm staying at a welcome center in Amarillo, and that is a place where it is not, I think it's going to be like in the 30s. That will be fine for me to sleep in. Anywhere else along this route, way too cold for me to sleep. So you have to look at the temperature. Same kind of thing on the flip side. In the summer, is it going to be 110 degrees at 9 p.m. at night? Probably not good for you to sleep, right? So you have to research that. The other thing you have to look at is the rest stop actually open, okay? So something that I do before I leave on a trip, and I'll even stop and look at it as I'm traveling, is I'll look at the 511 map for that state. So not every state's put their rest areas statuses on this, so it just does depend on the state. But some states, like Arizona, which is where I'm at right now, like California, will put, I think New Mexico, they actually put the status of their rest stops on their 501. 511, like you can call 501, that's what the number comes from, but you can just search, Google California 511 map or Arizona 501 map, whatever, and it'll give you a link to that. And then you go into the legend on that map and you will click on rest areas so you can see the status of the rest areas. So on this route, I'm on Interstate 40 and I'm in Arizona, but I just came from California. The 2 rest areas on Interstate 40 were closed. So if you had planned to sleep at one of them, you were out of luck. Now you could still pull over somewhere random. I mean, there's all kinds of, gravelly, dirt dirt places that you can pull over. You could go to a truck stop. Obviously, you can go to a motel or whatever. There's other things that you can do, but it wouldn't be free. And not every truck stop lets you. And if you just pull over randomly, there's nowhere to go to the bathroom. So this is much better in my opinion. However, that does mean this is probably going to fill up. Because the last two rest stops were closed, that means this one's probably going to fill up pretty early. There's a couple of cars here, some of whom who have been here for a while, so I think that they're sleeping, and it is 4:30 in the afternoon. Sunset's probably in about an hour. I will be going to bed very, very early, which is why I'm already here, because I was up at before 4 a.m. California time, and I'm kind of switching over to Central time because I'm driving to the Midwest. But you have to look at whether or not they're open. Now, not every state updates it. Like when I was driving through Wyoming, I was convinced that there was not going to be any rest areas because I couldn't find a map of any of them, but there are rest areas there. I just couldn't find where they had a status anywhere. Maybe it exists, but I wasn't able to find it at that time. So sometimes you just have to go with it. A lot of states will have a bunch of rest areas. So if one is closed, 45 minutes later, there's another one, but not always. Here in Arizona on Interstate 40, I'm at the very first rest stop. That's just not that far in from the border with California. Then there's no rest area until after Flagstaff. There used to be another rest area, but they turned it into just a truck parking. Something that I've found has been happening in the last few years is some states have been converting rest areas to being truck parking areas because trucks need it more than cars do, really. And they're legally required to stop and rest for certain chunks of time. And it's more dangerous if they're sleepy, considering how long they drive and how big and giant and heavy they are. They could kill a lot more people. So some states are prioritizing them having places to park. So they take out all the stuff for cars, and cars aren't allowed to go there, and now it's just truck parking. So if you drove through a state 20 years ago and there was a rest area, that doesn't mean it's a rest area now. It may have been converted. Another state that's done that a lot is Missouri. Missouri's converted a lot of them, but their rest areas are really nice. So the sun set a few minutes ago. It's not dark yet by any means, but you would have your lights on your car or whatever, your headlights. That's where we are. I did shut my windows because it's starting to get chilly. This is the desert, so it's like 70 degrees during the day, but we'll be in the 40s at night. So I went ahead and shut my windows to keep heat in. One thing that I've heard people say is they're like, oh, you have to have windows open or you're going to suffocate. This is a car. It is not sealed. It is like there are cars that are very, very sealed and you don't get any pollution from the outside and all that kind of stuff. This ain't one of those things. Also, I read this article where this engineer actually calculated it out and showed all his calculations, so I believed it, that how much oxygen is actually inside of a car, and a human being sleeping for 8 hours or whatever does not use the oxygen, does not put out too much carbon dioxide to kill them or anything. You're totally fine. So when I sleep at a rest stop or anywhere else in the winter, I just leave my windows up. It's no problem. I have never had an issue with that. Now, because it is getting dark, I'm going to be switching over my mode soon. And my mode will be stealth mode, not stealth because I don't want anyone to know I'm in here because I'm obviously in here, but stealth mode because I don't want people to see who is in here. Okay. I'm going to put up all my window coverings. And then what I'll do is open this up, and this will be how I'll have light. So I don't have to put lights on. I will have lights on a little bit so I can kind of show you around my sleeping and all that kind of stuff, but not right now. I won't be going to sleep for a few hours more because I'm not sleepy quite yet. And I don't want to be waking up one time I was traveling across country, the last time I was going from the Midwest to California, and I had switched my sleeping earlier, such that my last night driving, I woke up at 1:30 a.m. because I got to bed so early. That's pretty intense, you know? That's a really early time to get up. So I don't want to switch that much. This morning I was up at 3:55 a.m., naturally waking up. That's California time. Right now I'm in Arizona in the winter, so that would be waking up at 5 a.m. or 5 minutes before 5 a.m., which is a very reasonable time to wake up for me. I don't use an alarm. I wake up at those times naturally because I'm a super morning person. If I sleep till 6 a.m., woo, that's sleeping it. So I'm going to go ahead and shut down some stuff, put up my window covers and kind of be huddled up in here for the night. Not going to sleep yet, but just reading a book, doing stuff on my computer, watching a show. Okay, got the window coverings up here. Didn't do the back yet because it doesn't really matter quite yet, but I'll do that in a little bit. But since I have this open, it gives me some nice light. Once you can see the lights are on at the rest stop. So that provides some nice ambient light. It's not enough light to read. So if I want to read my book, then I actually have to get a real light out, which I will do in a bit. Hi. So if I was, wow, okay, let's do it like that. Like we have a ring light on the phone. So if I was just gonna read in bed, I would not need a light because there's enough light coming from up high into the sunroof so I could read in bed. But I don't want to get in bed. It is only 6:24 local time. Even I don't want to go to bed that early. So I got my light out. This is a rechargeable light that has a little solar panel on it. And I'm gonna actually blow it up because you want to make it more diffuse. Hold on, let's see if I can get it going. I don't want to like make myself hyperventilate. There we go. That's good. A little more diffuse light. Apparently. I own 3 lanterns. I only have 2 of them with me today. This one solar charges, and then the other one I have plugs into USB, like a micro USB. I think it's always important to have more than one light source and to have more, like it's good to have different kinds of light source. This, I can deflate it and just stick it up on the dash of the car and it'll charge during the day as I'm driving and, you know, ambiently. My son gave this to me years ago and it still works great. So I highly recommend having these little solar powered ones. But then I think it's important to also have ones that recharge because maybe it's cloudy, you know, you forgot to charge this, and this way you have another light that can be charged another way. And one of the things too, don't forget with things like lights or a noise machine or a fan, if it's powered by USB-C or USB-A or micro USB or whatever, usually, not always, usually you can just plug it into your battery. I highly recommend that even if you're just road tripping like short distances, you're not living in your car full time, you get some kind of more extensive battery than just the car, because then you can plug stuff into it and just let it run. My fan and that I have with me, which is USB-C, and my sound machine and my other lantern, I can plug them in and they can run straight off the battery as they are charging. Not everything does that, but most things do. And so that can be a really helpful way to get the power that you need with, even if you forgot to charge something up. Now, it doesn't work for everything. It does not work for my cephally device for migraines, at least the one I have. I have one that's kind of old. I don't have the newest one. I haven't gotten the newest one because it has, like, you know, Bluetooth and all the things. And I'm like, can we just have dumb stuff? I don't actually want Bluetooth and Wi-Fi and all the things. Okay, so I think I want a snack. So I'm kind of going through my stuff. I have a whole big thing of tortillas. You can eat tortillas as a snack, but that's not something that I'm gonna do right now. This is cornbread that my significant other made for me before I left for me to have while I'm traveling. I had already had some today though. I here and have bread. I don't actually have really stuff to make a sandwich unless I was gonna eat tuna with no mayonnaise, and that's disgusting. So I really just have snacky things in here. Let me see, is there anything else? I have chips. Oh, you know what I'm gonna have? Trader Joe's chocolate pretzels. Yeah, so I know I can start getting ready for bed when I'm watching a show that I enjoy and I'm dozing off. So what time is it? It is local time, 8:20. So now it's starting to do my bedtime routine, which actually really already started because it was just, you know, reading a book and then watching a show. If I want to relax before bed, either I have certain YouTube things I watch, which I did a video about that. I don't know if it's up before this one, but I already recorded it, so it'll be up soon. And then I watch shows that I've already watched, so I'm not stressed by them. So I know everything's gonna happen. I know who's gonna die. It's not stressful. But now I will be leaving my car to go to the bathroom and brush my teeth and everything, which is one of the great things about being at a rest stop with bathroom with running water, is you can brush your teeth. Come on. Okay, teeth are brushed and flossed and all that stuff. Don't smash my chips. Okay. Y'all know how I love chips. All right, so I'm back in my car. The doors are locked. Everything is covered except for the one that fell off that I'll put on when I get back there. I gotta take my jacket off. I'm not sleeping in this unless I really needed to, which I don't. I have a very specific jacket that I'm going to put on that only stays in the car, that is just for sleeping. So now, since I'm gonna do bedtime routine stuff, I've gone to the bathroom for the night and brushed my teeth and all that. Now it is time to do my various medicine. So I have a couple of prescriptions that I'm taking, and then I have my allergy medicine, my nasal inhaler that I'm gonna use. And my prescriptions also include something that's not a prescription, which is melatonin that'll just kick me off to going to sleep. So I have a big container that has all my prescriptions, because I'm going to be gone for 2 months. So I have a plastic container that has all my actual bottles. But then I, put it in a little organizer. I have 2 weeks of it in here, like when I refill it, but I only have 1 week right now, which is fine because I have all my meds. So today is Thursday. One thing there's no melatonin in here. Let's take some pills. Make sure my door is locked while I'm up here. Make sure my lights are off. I turned them off a long time ago, but it's like a thing I always do. Door's locked, lights off. When I first moved into a car, I had I think 2 or 3 times where I did not lock the door to my car. Now it's a little bit different now that I'm in a fancy new car, but yes. Realizing you've been sleeping with your doors unlocked, not cool. All right, so now it's gonna be time to get back into bed. Is there anything else I need up here? I have my phone, obviously, that you are on. I'm gonna bring my light back there, and then I have my mouth guard that is for my teeth, so I'm not grounding my teeth. So getting back into my bed is slightly awkward right now because there's a lot more stuff back there than usual. But fundamentally, I put my knee on this armrest and then launch myself back into there. Let's see how we're gonna do this. All right, so I'll see you in a minute. So now you see, got my light coming up there, and I have this light, so actually a half decent amount of light. I never turn these on because I'm always worried that I'm gonna forget and leave them on, and it's gonna be a big problem. All right, so now the one thing I always need to decide before I go to bed when I'm traveling is, am I going to kind of wash up, change clothes, any of that kind of stuff? And I actually I'm gonna wear the same clothes tomorrow. I'm gonna keep wearing them actually until next time I take a shower, because why not? But I do want to change my underwear and kind of, shall we say, wash up my business. So that's what I'm going to do now, which I'm obviously not going to film because what in the heck? But I have to find a pair of clean underwear, which should be over there. And then I have wet wipes right here. And then I have deodorant up there. And then I'm going to be changed underwear and give myself some deodorant. And then really just have the same clothes on, which is fine. But that way I feel a little, little refreshed. It's amazing how helpful it is to have fresh application of deodorant and some clean underwear on. Feel a lot better. Now, one of the reasons I do this at night is because putting on clean clothes in the morning when it's 40 degrees or 30 degrees or whatever temperature, man, that's harsh, because those clothes are cold. I'm getting those all up in your business is like woo, that is chilly. So I'd much rather just do it at night and sleep in them. And then they're all nice and warm, so I'm not cold in the morning. So yeah, then I'd use another wet wipe to clean off my face, and then we're moving on to actually getting to bed. So my blankets are all completely messed up. I used to make my bed, but then it's actually harder to get into the blankets. It's easier if they're just kind of messed up. It's really weird because I always was the kind of person who made my bed. So not making my bed kind of does bother me a bit. But here we are. Sometimes we have a... All right, so now all I'm pretty much going to do is I am going to... Let's see. Get this going. All that's left is for me to put my hair up in a bonnet. So this is a silk bonnet. I never did this until very recently, like last year. And I started doing it to protect my hair so my hair would be wavy. But what I found is that this is so helpful for sleeping because my hair is so long, it would actually get like tangled in my CPAP straps and in around my neck and stuff. And now my hair is all out of the way. Highly recommend. Something I want to make is I want to make bonnets that are insulated. So like if you want like a silk thing, or some people use a satin weave to touch your head and probably also out here, but you could put something insulated in the middle, and then it would be really good for sleeping in the winter in a car or camping. That's my idea. Okay, now I'm just going to put in my mouth guard, take off my glasses, start my white noise machine, use my Cephally device, which is my device that I use for migraines to reduce the frequency and severity of migraines. And then I'm off to sleep. So good luck to me, and I'll see you in the morning. Good morning. Can you even see me? It is 4 a.m. I've been awake for just a little bit, just kind of, slowly waking up. So that means I got 4, 5, 6, good 6-7 hours of sleep. So excellent. It's super quiet right now. It is chilly, and man, I have to pee. So, so that was this is my inside the car sweatshirt that I only sleep in. I don't wear it outside. That way it's always clean, it's always dry. Oh, this jacket is so cold right now. I also have 2 hats, which I don't even have out right now, but I have 2 hats, warm hats. One would stay inside the car. It's important to always have warm, dry stuff to sleep in. All right, let's brave the cold. They had no toilet paper here. I highly recommend that when you're on a road trip, you have tissue in your purse or bag or pocket, and you also have hand sanitizer in case it's no soap.
In a quarter mile, merge onto I-40 East. Continue on I-40 East for 139 miles.
Hey, it is night 2 at a rest stop, different rest stop, of course. Got to this rest stop. I talked to my son on FaceTime, talked to my significant other on phone. I was like, okay, I need to get off the phone, start getting ready for bed. Go over to the bathroom, The bathroom is closed. They have no water, not because of winter, but because I don't know why, like it's a handwritten sign. Luckily though, across the street is a Buc-ee's that's brand new. So I was able to go over there, go to the bathroom, and it was the largest bathroom I have ever seen. I mean, I have been in stadiums that had technically more stalls in the women's restroom, but this isn't stalls. Each like where the toilet is like a little room with a full door. This place was huge. Buc-ee's to me is incredibly overwhelming, and they yell inside about things being hot, which I dislike. But I am very appreciative of the bathroom, because if I didn't have that, I would have had to get in my car and drive to go to a different truck stop to find a bathroom. So I'm thankful for it today.